Hey, Spencer Sutton here, back with you for part 7 of the ultimate guide to renting your home. I'm glad you've made it this far. Now you have a live customer in your home. They're paying you rent every single month. Now, unless your house or your home, your apartment, your condo, your townhome, whatever it is, unless it's brand new, newly built, or completely renovated, newly renovated, you can expect to have maintenance issues. I have maintenance issues in my own home. You're gonna have maintenance issues in your rental home. And this is just the way that it goes. And so it's really, really important for you to understand how to probably handle these and how to think about them. I like to think about setting aside a monthly amount for, just based on how much I'm getting in rent. I would set probably 10% of that aside each month for maintenance issues down the road. Now, these things do not include capital expenditures. These are like roofs, heating and air systems. Those are bigger ticket issues. But if you're renting your home for $2,000 a month and you set aside $200 a month, probably $100 to $200 a month each month, then you're going to build up a surplus to handle any kind of maintenance issues, so you shouldn't have to really come out of pocket. So I think it's important to think about it that way. Understand that probably the biggest frustrations we hear from residents when we're taking over new properties is how quickly a maintenance issue is handled. Because when something is broken, it is a pain in the neck. And the last thing that somebody wants to do is just sit there and look at a broken, or have a broken garbage disposal or a leak in somewhere for weeks and weeks. So the important thing is that you have a plan. And I would communicate with the resident what that plan is. Go ahead and let them know. Again, like we talked about in the last video, as you're telling them how you want them to communicate with you, most of that communication is going to be about one of two things: maintenance issues or payment. And so you need to figure out how you want them to pay you. You can have them direct deposit into your bank, send you a check every month, however you want them to do that. Get that settled, but then also, how do you want them to communicate about maintenance issues? And this will be really, really important to you as you want to streamline this as easily as possible. There's a few people that you probably want to have in your back pocket and ready to do things, and that's just a general handyman. A general handyman can handle things like a broken window. They can typically handle minor plumbing stuff, leaks and things like that. They can handle hanging, patching holes in a wall, doing things like that. If something's broken, they're, doorknobs or whatever the cases are, they're typically very good they're kind of a jack of all trades. And then you most definitely want to know who you're going to call for heating and air service. Now, this could be somebody that you just Google and look up a general person, like a company that does this all the time. They're going to be expensive, but you're not going to probably have to use them a whole bunch. And so you're going to want to know who you're going to call there. And then I would say plumbing is also going to be somebody that you're going to need to have ready to go. And so get your Rolodex, get all of this together. You don't want to give this information to the resident and say, you go ahead and call the maintenance in, because you're going to be paying for it. Like, the repairs are on you. Now, if the resident reaches out to you and says, I'd like to have this room here painted whatever color, sky blue, let's just say sky blue, and it's a beige right now, or it's white, that's going to be up to you to decide, will you allow them to do that? But it's going to be up to them to get it done. Now, they can either paint it or they can hire somebody to paint it. That's not something that you need to pay for. You're giving them a product, and your end of the bargain is to make sure that that product is working and that the things in there are working. But if they want to add things or do any kind of additional touch up to the property, that's going to be on them. We know from experience that when a resident calls in a maintenance issue, if it's not handled in a timely manner, they're going to get upset, and guess what? You're probably going to lose that resident when the lease is up. And that's not what you want to do. You will not be a very successful landlord if you are replacing a resident every 12 months. And so if you can avoid that at all costs, please do. If there is some type of delay, and we do see this, like right now, the market for handymen and all kind of repair people is very, very tight. It's very competitive. They've got a ton of business out there, not enough workers, not enough people out there doing the business. So if there is some type of delay or issue or it doesn't get fixed right, be apologetic. Make sure you handle it. Take care of them. I would even say send them a gift card or something for their troubles if they've experienced some kind of trouble. This is one of the reasons we decided to bring all of our maintenance in-house and hire our own maintenance techs so that we could help our owners and determine, hey, how quickly we can get to these issues and get them knocked out. And it's very, very important for the longevity of that relationship with the tenant. And so it's really going to be important to you to make sure you have this dialed in. Know how they're going to communicate with you, and then make sure you get that maintenance issue taken care of as quickly as possible. You will avoid resident turnover if you do this. And that's the last thing you want, is a lot of resident turnover, because a vacant property doesn't earn you any income whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it costs you money. It costs you money every time you have to go show it, every time it sits there. If it's vacant for 30 to 60 days, then that's going to be a problem because you're missing out on that income. All right, so in the last video, we're going to talk about the turn, what we call the turn. And that's when a resident turns in notice to, they're going to turn in notice to vacate and say, hey, I'm moving out in 30 days or whatever your lease says. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, how to handle that, and how to get your property ready for another resident.